Greetings, folks. Iolair here. Today's replay is a co-op battle for myself in the Tier 8 German battleship, the mighty Bismarck. Now, some of you may be scratching your heads asking, why on earth would I share a co-op battle with a group, since these matches tend to be tactically pretty dull, and they don't earn much in the way of experience or credits. But I found that co-op serves a number of good purposes, and I thought this match exemplified most, if not all of them. So first of all, co-op is a good way to get away from the persistent toxicity that we see in a lot of player versus player formats, especially random and ranked battles. There isn't a lot of pressure in these co-op battles. The bots that you play against tend to perform or operate very predictably. Games are more or less almost a guarantee to win 98% of them. Unless something goes horribly wrong. And so there really isn't a lot of pressure in these games, and they're less demanding in terms of tactical execution, and so they can be a good way to just kind of take a quick break from maybe more demanding arenas like ranked and random battles. Secondly, co-op battles are a good place to go brawling, and I covered this in a previous video on the channel called A Cure for the Brawling Blues, where again I take a German battleship into a co-op battle just for the kind of the brawling experience. Because the bots do play quite predictably, and they just kind of tend to move forward blindly and just get into engagements. Brawling situations are more or less guaranteed in these games. And so if you like to do brawling and you're not too worried about like having to be tactically sophisticated or anything like that, this can be a good place to go and exercise your brawling talents. Another reason I found to play co-op is to try out new ships. So if I earn a new ship through the tech tree, or if I acquire a new premium ship, co-op is a good place to learn the ships initially in terms of their maneuverability, their speed, their gun handling, torpedo handling, their shell ballistics, and so on, so that when you do go into a more competitive atmosphere, whether that be ranked or random or whatever, that you're a little more prepared, or at least I found that I'm a little more prepared to play the ship more effectively in those playing formats or in those combat formats. Now, lastly, and this is the reason that I actually played this particular game, is that co-op is a good place to try out new ship builds. So I've had my Bismarck for a long time, and I wanted to see if I could play the Bismarck without the expert marksman skill. So I was taking advantage of the reduced cost on retraining commanders. This was around the holiday period. In fact, this particular game was played on Christmas Day, 2019. And like I said, I wanted to see if I could play the Bismarck successfully without using expert marksman. I want to be able to use this commander as my brawling commander for my Scharnhorst when I want to play the Scharnhorst in a secondary build. And the Scharnhorst definitely does not require expert marksman. In fact, in my opinion, expert marksman on the Scharnhorst is a waste of commander skills because her turrets really are as fast as most or many heavy cruisers. So she definitely does not require expert marksman. And I also wanted to be able to pick up preventative maintenance and expert loader, which expert loader is also a very good skill for a Scharnhorst because you regularly do have to change ammunition types depending upon the targets that you're shooting at and the angles they are presenting to you. So this ended up being potentially a good brawler build for the Scharnhorst, and like I said, I wanted to see how I could take my Bismarck commander and player. And as you can probably tell, I'm playing pretty effectively in this battle without expert marksman. Now, one thing I should point out if you do decide to consider not taking expert marksman on a ship that might need it, is to think about making sure that you keep your guns where you need them or predicting where you need them in advance so that you're not waiting for your turrets to catch up. You want to try to avoid sort of those surprise engagements, and suddenly you realize, oh, I don't have the guns on the right side of the ship. And so always looking at the mini-map and predicting where you're going to need your guns is a good skill to have in general anyway. And it definitely is more important, or becomes more paramount, if you have a ship like the Bismarck, where expert marksman is kind of borderline, whether it's really needed or not. And so in this particular match, like I said, it looks like I worked out things pretty well. So I'm down to just 3,000 or 3,200 hit points. The Bismarck here is targeting me, so I've got to get my stern on him and try to make sure that I can bounce his shots. While I retrain my secondaries on him, and I'm going to kite him for the moment until my heal comes back up, which it did just a few seconds ago, and so I'm getting some of my health back. I don't want to turn here just yet, because if the Bismarck gets a decent hit on me, he can still take me out. I'm slowly getting back up to about 10,000 HP, but he is going to go down here in a moment. He's going to burn out due to the, I think, fire set by the Ark Royale, and that's just going to leave the opposing aircraft carrier. Now, in this particular match, at this point, I had not expected that I would be able to get back into the game or at least get into range of the carrier, but I thought I would try, and so I start heading back north to see if he is going to be within my range when he shows it back up again. You can see that I've already sunk 4 ships. I've done 185,000 in damage. Keep in mind that we're only like 9 minutes into the battle, and that includes the time to actually sail toward a cap or toward some location where the opponents were. So I've definitely racked up a lot of damage. And frankly, I felt a little bit bad, and you'll see why a little bit later here with the aircraft carrier, because I kind of dominated this match, and I'll just be up front. I ended up getting reported, I think probably because of the domination that I had in this match, and the fact that I was kind of like taking out most of the opponents in the game. One other thing I should point out here, you're going to see some very good dispersion. Now, I'm not going to land any shells here because the carrier is turning away, but this match being played on 0.8.11 included the buffed German battleship dispersion, and so these shots are actually much more accurate, although the previous one was better than this one. But the shots are much more accurate at this range. Again, this carrier is 18 kilometers away from me, and prior to this buff, I think most people would have considered these kind of be just sort of Hail Marys and not likely to land much in the way of shells. But I did get a Citadel on that previous salvo. Here goes the next salvo, and as luck was going to have it, I'm going to end up sinking the aircraft carrier. And again, I think I probably frustrated the Warspite player who was sailing up the east flank hoping to get a kill in. So you hear the background music. This was played on Christmas Day, so I'm playing some Christmas music just in kind of celebration of that. But a good match and a good demonstration of both the brawling capabilities of the Bismarck, as well as exercising some of the benefits of the co-op battles. So I hope you found the replay interesting. Please do leave your comments below, and as always, we hope to see you out there, and we wish you happy sailing.